My name's Jon Hurley. I'm the lead vocalist in Carbon Black. We're a Wollongong groove metal, to put it basically, yeah, groove metal band. We've been going for a little over 10 years now, which is just, it's funny to look back at like when we started and how we started and think of all the things that we've done up until this point. But we're recently releasing our brand new, well, I say brand new, our revisited and revitalised EP, Principium. With new ideas and the stable band lineup that we've had for a very long time now. Steve Giles came in on drums, I think, about 6 years ago, and me and Rob Giles obviously on bass and Damon Bishop on guitar. Like we've been, a stable four-piece for about 6 years now. And it was a long time coming to find a stable drummer. I'm just going off on one for it. but yeah, it took us a while to, like that. That's one of the reasons. The reason why I bring it up. It's one of the reasons why we've really wanted to redo the Principium stuff is because, Steve has added his personality to the songs that we rushed in the beginning, if you know what I mean. Like, yeah, anyway, I won't go off on another one.
No, that's fabulous. You've answered a lot of my questions already, so thank you.
Okay. Well, there was one more thing that I'll just add to that real quickly. Yeah. When we started this project as Carbon Black, Rob, who is our manager, and he's the man behind the plan, so to speak. He already had gigs booked for us. Like we already had shows before we had songs.
Wow.
So we needed songs. So we needed songs, and we needed songs yesterday. So that's why I say rushed, is we literally went down to Damo's basement with our original drummer. At the beginning, and we like knocked out 40 minutes or something like that of material in a matter of weeks, and that's what became the Principium original release. You know what I mean? Like we canned some of the tracks that just weren't that great. So that's, and we weren't really, we didn't really work on the songs or anything like that. Like, it was much like a lot of verse chorus bridge verse chorus type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Not much to them, simple stuff, but catchy, and like they got good choruses and all that stuff. We're still very proud of the songs, but yeah, there's a few reasons to revisit these songs, make them a little bit bigger or a little bit more in depth, a little bit better, basically. So yeah, that's really why we wanted to revisit them and re-release them as this new thing, and obviously to celebrate our 10 years. Jesus.
I know. I can't believe it. How does it feel to know that you've been doing this for 10 years and you guys have actually garnered quite huge success, like managing to collaborate alongside, is it Tim Owens from Judas Priest and all of that? Yeah. No, like it's actually quite humbling is a good word for some of the time. Like it's also we do genuinely feel really lucky. We've worked really hard. You can't go two ways about it. We've worked really hard on our songs, our stage presence, like our stage presentation as well. Just like try to, because the landscape, especially in heavy music, well, in any music really, it changes month to month, week to week, day to day, almost hour to hour sometimes. You know what I mean? One second you're riding a wave of popularity, the next second no one even remembers your name. And not that that's a bad thing, but yes, we've had a lot of phenomenal experiences, phenomenal opportunities, to work. I mean, the doing the song with Ripper was an interesting, during the pandemic or around that area. We're organizing the final touches to our second full length, We Remain. And we wanted to give it a little bit of spice, basically, like maybe grab a headline here or something like that. And we're like, oh, how on earth are we going to do that? Because it's very difficult to make any type of, swell, if you will, especially from like we're a local band from Albion Park in Wollongong. Exactly. Like it's rough out there. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of bands all out there that all have a passion for their music and all that stuff. So we wanted to try to make a little splash, a little bit more than we usually do. And all of a sudden this thing came up and Rob jumped on it. It was Tim Owens was offering guest vocals on basically anything, and it was difficult for a lot of people, especially musicians during the pandemic, because all of a sudden there was nothing. you know,
Yeah.
especially if you're on certain levels where, you know, you're not making any money from streaming. You know, you don't have any songs that are over 1,000 streams on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so and obviously no one's buying. Well, not no one, but you know, we all know how the album market is at any stage for the past decade. So you know, it's very difficult for musicians, especially lifers like Tim Owens, to make any type of revenue. So obviously he was really open to any work, really. I mean, to come his way. That's how it seemed.
Yeah.
Whether I'm right or wrong, but that's how it seemed. And maybe bored sitting at home because we're locked inside for 2 months, you know. Anyway, so yeah, Rob was like, "Oh, what do you guys think of this?" And you know, I was like, I mean, it's one hell of a headline, and hopefully it grabs some attention. And you know, obviously he's a phenomenal singer, and it's. Well, maybe I shouldn't say, but it was funny because they, as Necrophized, way back before, I mean, obviously before Carbon Black was even like a thing, they played with Tim Owens at a show as his, I think it was as his backing band or as his support band at the Cabbage Tree, which is a local venue in Wollongong. And it was I was at, and I just happened to be at that show as well. Like I was a punter at the time, hanging with some mates, obviously. And they were the backing band, and they were hoping to God that he didn't remember them, because apparently it wasn't the nicest scenario to be in. I mean, to be honest, the man used to headline Wacken festivals with Judas Priest and like have tens of thousands of people in front of him as a vocalist, and this was not a dive bar, but it definitely didn't have more than 100 people in the room, you know, and in Wollongong, you know, so take that as you will. Anyway, so yeah, we jumped on the opportunity, and and he was phenomenal. He really, like, obviously ultra professional.
Yeah.
Sent us I think 3 different full length takes that we could pick and choose from. And what we ended up doing was what we have in the final product, you know, because the song was already written. That was the thing. The song was already written. I'd already done the main lead vocal line and the harmonies and all the bits and pieces with Lachlan in the studio.
Yeah.
And that's like we were tossing and turning on which song to send and should we do this, should we do that. But Under Order ended up being the one we went with, and the one we made the video for.
Yeah.
Mainly because it was the more melodic, the more power metal, if you will, out of the songs, in my opinion. I thought there was a lot of different things there that he, especially since he's got quite an extensive range and knowledge of the harmonizations and all the bits and pieces, you know. So he could really sink his teeth into that track, and he really did. He came back with some phenomenal stuff, especially like, you know, that ridiculous falsetto note that he holds over the end, like little stanza in the back there. But so that was great, you know.
He really fits the track. It's like tailor-made, like you guys tailor-made it for him almost, and yourself as well, obviously, as a band, and it just goes together so nicely. Yeah.
It worked out really, really well. It really, really does. And I kept on stuffing myself up by trying to imitate the way he does the song, so I could swap between myself and him. Because obviously, when we perform it live, I'm he's not going to be a special guest appearance on a local Wollongong stage, is he? I mean, that'd be interesting, but I don't know whether we're going to pull that one off. Maybe one day. But if we ever get to tour the European scene and he's in the same city and he actually remembers.
Link up. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. You guys will also be releasing a limited amount of CDs for the Principium.
Yeah.
I can't say that word very well.
Rob loves his words.
Yeah. Thanks. How can we get our hands on that?
Probably through, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure, but it's usually through Bandcamp. Okay. We always have hard copies at shows we perform at. We have hard copies of all the stuff. And so definitely through Bandcamp would be the best way. That's how we've always got merch bundles when it comes to any release that we do. We do specialized merch for each and every single either single or full-length release or EP release or anything like that. I mean, the amazing thing about having Damo is not only a great guitarist, but he's a screen printer as well. So, and he's been doing it forever. So he just comes up with these ideas for merch, and and he's got all guys for like beanies and hats and coasters and whatever you want, whatever. That's why when we rock up to a venue, we have a suitcase full of like a dozen different designs of T-shirts, and
Yeah,
we even
that's
had
so handy.
we even had undies. Yeah, we even had undies.
Oh.
Like, for God's sake, they
That's
went
wicked.
really quickly.
I'm sure. What can fans expect from your upcoming tour? Will we hear a range of songs from your earlier stuff, or is it just going to be?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
No. So we're planning on performing the EP in full, as we used to back in the old days, as well as a sprinkle of the new stuff as well. Like we want to do at least one, like if we have the time, obviously. Like, sometimes we only do half an hour sets, sometimes we do 45, sometimes we do an hour, whatever it is. And we want to do the EP in full, as we used to do back in the old days, as the celebration thing. Throw in at least one song from each full length after it, whether it be, like we recently did a show at La La La's in Wollongong, and that was that was the first time we performed the EP in full as the new stuff. Like, it's not the old versions of the songs, the revisited versions of those songs in full in a line. I mean, it must be at least 7 years. So, it's interesting. It was very interesting to revisit those songs, and it's honestly very surprising in how embedded in the memory, because we did it over and over and over, because those are the only songs that we knew. So we played them a lot. And it was just funny. It was like, slipping back into a comfy pair of shoes again, type of thing. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
But it was quite interesting. Like, and sometimes you flick back because some of the lyrics are a little bit different. Some of the arrangements are a little bit different. Some of the, for the new versions, they're just a tiny little bit different. And you keep on doing the old way because that's what you're used to.
Oh, funny as. Okay, just a few last questions to wrap it up. What does Carbon Black mean to you?
Oh, hell.
A huge one. Just a small question.
No, right? I mean, to be honest, it's funny. Like, I keep on saying to be honest, and it's funny because it really is. And because every now and again, especially with the faces that we've come and gone, that, like, because we've toured this, we haven't gone to Western Australia, which would be interesting, in Northern Territory, but, like, we've been to Queensland, we've been to Victoria, obviously, we've done the whole Sydney scene, we've done the whole Wollongong scene, regional areas of New South Wales, and the amount of bands that were genuinely talented, had really great musicians, really great songs that just disappear. Never, like, maybe they play, it's a big country, and sometimes, like, hell, we played, like, for instance, I don't know whether you know, but you probably do. There's a band called King Parrot that might be going there. Yeah. Obviously, I'm just making sure. Yeah, exactly. But we played with them in Corrimal 8 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And they were already making and they were already making waves back then, like with their videos and their stage performance, and, like, people back then even, like, loved King Parrot, and they obviously took the bull by the horn, so to speak, and went over to the States, made some great networking, obviously getting on the road with Phil Anselmo, and all these things, and now they're playing Knotfest next year. And so I think and I think they support a Pantera. I'm not 100% sure, but, like, so there's those bands, but that's one in, I don't know, like, thousands that we've played with. So getting back to the question of what Carbon Black means to me, anyway, is the fact that we've been able to make it through the hard times, the rough, like, sometimes we were literally sitting on our hands for what felt like 2 years through drummer problems, and not even lineup changes, because it's been me, Rob, and Damo for the whole stick. Even before then, I did a guest spot. I went in with Necrophist. Like, I performed a show at Canberra in the basement with Necrophist because that something happened with their vocalist, and I just happened to be back in town, and anyway, it's kind of worked out that all of a sudden I was the vocalist for Necrophist for a cup of tea. And that's kind of where all this came from. So, wow. It is still, I say it's been, like, it's finishing. It's not finishing. We still have a passion to write new songs. We still have a passion to perform. We always whinge and moan about rehearsal, and whinge and moan about having to drive to Sydney, and whinge and moan, I just can't be bothered, blah, 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 so tired from work and all this stuff. Yeah. But every time we stand on stage, it's a release. It's the best fun you can have, in my opinion. It's the best fun you can have. We've done some, we're going back to the tens of thousands of bands who disappear. Like, we've supported the Cavalera Conspiracy on their
No, the Cavallero Brothers on their Arise, Beneath Arise. When they did Arise and Beneath the Remains in full, like at the Metro, we
Mhm.
supported that there to a packed Metro. I've never seen that many people in front of our band, and you know, it was absolutely incredible.
Oh.
The very first time we supported an international band was at the Metro. It was hell yeah. I got to meet Vinnie Paul before he passed. Like that, it was like I almost had a heart attack. The man was
Yeah.
literally walking down the hallway,
Yeah.
you know, where the merch stands are at the Metro. You've probably been to the Metro, but like
Yes,
just
yeah.
there, and like, you know, it was like two ships in the night, and I was just like, that's Vinnie Paul, man. like that's actually that guy. And you know, obviously it wasn't just him. The vocalist, because obviously the vocalist from Mudvayne was a vocalist from Hell Yeah. So you know, we met, like,
Yeah.
you know, so we're desperately trying to hold on to our professionalism and not act like a fanboy. But it's Vinnie Paul.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's crazy.
so you know, and these amazing experiences, like a lot of drunken nights, that's for sure. A lot of long road trips, a lot of music, a lot of headbanging, a lot of lessons in just how to take care of yourself, especially as a vocalist, because like, you know, I do the screaming and the singing, and I always want to give it 110%. So
Yeah.
try to keep this intact is one of my biggest challenges, I tell you.
I was going to
But
ask,
yeah, no,
do you do a lot of warm up before you go on, or does it come naturally to you? And do you have a lot of rituals to keep your voice?
Oh, look, it has been I lost my voice for a while. Like I almost I wasn't sure whether because I had always been the warm up guy.
Yeah.
You know, I went to vocal lessons before I even started singing. I went to vocal lessons because I wasn't bad. You know what? You know, I could sing. I could sing better than most people, but like I wasn't. Never thought of myself as a singer. So all of a sudden, my sister actually gifted me some vocal lessons, and I was like, oh, okay. You know, never really thought of it. I was always like too shy, or you know, you look up to these people like, you know, you see your Hetfields or your Bruce Dickinsons or your Corey Taylors, and you're like, I could never do that. You know, that's ridiculous. But yeah, long story short, honestly, but it all of a sudden I found a passion for it. It was the best thing I started doing. I loved it so much, and obviously I had positive feedback from people, which made me want to do it even more.
Yeah.
And then I was doing musical theatre, and I had whilst doing the band as well, and I had a few bad habits at the time that weren't helping. I wasn't taking as good a care of myself or my voice as I should have been, but plus I didn't have the technique that I needed and that I have now to really maintain the guttural growls and the cleans as well.
Yeah.
And but I've always been the warm-up guy. I've always been like doing the exercises for hours at a time on my vocals, practicing. But I found when I had to relearn and bless him, make loud noise. Oh, Anita, hang on. I just want to give her a shout out because she really, really helped me. And she's actually like a vocal specialist, and she specializes in you know, aggressive vocal.
Yeah.
So her school is called Make Loud Noise.
No, that'd be awesome to share, because then it can get other listeners, you know, thinking of going into what you're doing.
Yeah, well, that's that. See, like some people, I can't find her last name because I'm an asshole, but like it's Anita at Make Loud Noise. It's on Facebook, and check it out because she's in Queensland and she does Zoom lessons. And without her, I don't know what I would have done. Like it was a few people leading up to her. There was a lovely lady in Berry that was helping me through.
We've just been cut off from Jon, but to wrap it all up, it's been a pleasure speaking with Jon today from Carbon Black. Carbon Black will be releasing Principium 2.0 December 6th, and you can catch their tour kicking off in Wagga Wagga December 7. And we're glad to see that the band's adding some rural towns to their tours as well. Coming from a rural town myself, it's awesome to see. We can't wait. Thank you guys so much.